It's live.
Hello, this is George.
And Bonnie, and give it a minute, and it'll catch up. Give me a kissy. See? It's okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, we're back.
Well, it's Tuesday.
Yay!
This is Adonai's Sanctuary Truth Classroom.
Keep going, it'll straighten itself out.
The talk tonight's going to be on Exodus or Shemot.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Sounds like a lot.
We're going to talk for hours. Not really.
Not really. Psych.
It's kind of interesting how everything works out.
Yeah, it is. Wait till they hear this.
How they work together. How you see things you've never seen before.
So true.
You ready to get going?
Yes, dear. Let's do it.
All right. The miracles. You know, the snake, Exodus 7, 8 through 13, please.
Adonai said to Moses and Aaron, when Pharaoh says to you, perform a miracle, tell Aaron to take his staff and throw it down in front of Pharaoh so that it can become a snake. Moses and Aaron went in to Pharaoh and did this, as Adonai had ordered. Aaron threw down his staff in front of Pharaoh and his servants, and it turned into a snake. But Pharaoh, in turn, called for the sages and sorcerers, and they too, the magicians of Egypt, did the same thing, making use of their secret arts. Each one threw his staff down, and they turned into snakes. But Aaron's staff swallowed up theirs. Nevertheless, Pharaoh was made hard-hearted, and he didn't listen to them, as Adonai had said would happen.
Now, something that jumped out at us was, have you ever thought these miracles took time to have full measure of importance? Like the river water. Read chapter 7, 20 and 21, please.
Oh, it's over here.
Pardon?
It's over here. Aaron and Moses did exactly as Adonai had ordered. He raised the staff, and in the sight of Pharaoh and his servants struck the water in the river, and all the water in the river was turned into blood. 2021, right here.
Mm-hmm.
The fish in the river died, and the river stank so badly that the Egyptians couldn't drink its water. There was blood throughout all Egypt.
Now we see, well, then you should also see in 724, or verse 724, we see that the Egyptians did what they did for drinking water. Have you ever thought about that? Interesting. Read 724, please.
All the Egyptians dug around the river for water to drink, because they couldn't drink the river water.
In other words, they did that. Well, if you read that verse, doesn't it imply that they did that to get drinking water? Otherwise, they had to go a long time without water.
Yeah.
Now we have the miracle of frogs. Well, that is a nasty, nasty outcome for the people plus Pharaoh. Read what some interpretations say is 8:1, but in the complete Jewish Bible it's 7:25 through 29. Let's find out about the frogs.
7 days after Adonai had struck the river, Adonai said to Moses, go into Pharaoh and say to him, here is what Adonai says, let my people go so that they can worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I will strike all your territory with frogs. The river will swarm with frogs. They will go up, enter your palace, go into your bedroom, onto your bed. They will enter your houses of your servants and your people, and go into the ovens and the kneading bowls. The frogs will climb all over your people and your servants. Yee.
Now that's really sounding kind of nasty.
Yeah.
In your ovens, in your bowls, into your bedroom, even on your beds. And when you realize it, that was after they just spent 7 days with the bloody water. That they had to dig extra holes, extra wells, to even drink water. Otherwise, like it states, they would have had to go 7 days without water. We have never heard from any pulpit what Mahoney is going to read next. Read 8 through 12. Just in parentheses. Okay.
Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Intercede with Adonai to take the frogs away from me and my people, and I will let the people go and sacrifice to Adonai." Moses said to Pharaoh, "Not only that, but you can have the honor of naming the time when I will pray for you, your servants, and your people to get rid of the frogs, besides yourself and your homes, and that they stay only in the river." He answered, "Tomorrow." Moses said, "It will be as you have said, and from this you will learn that Adonai our God has no equal. The frogs will leave you and your homes, also your servants and your people. They will stay in the river only." Moses and Aaron left Pharaoh's presence, and Moses cried to Adonai about the frogs he had brought on Pharaoh.
Now that is something I can't say as I've ever really heard preached on the pulpit. And I wrote, did you catch that? When he says, "You, Pharaoh, will have the honor of naming the time when I will pray for you." I didn't ever catch that before. Pharaoh, you tell me when you want me to pray for you.
That's interesting.
And that's what I wrote. That's kind of interesting. Now that was interesting.
Sorry.
Then there was a time for prayer, and what happens? Read chapter 8, verses 13 and 14.
Adonai did as Moses had asked. The frogs died in the houses, courtyards, and fields. They gathered them in heaps till the land stank. I bet it did.
Heap of dead, stinky frogs.
Yuck.
That was bad enough, but then Adonai has Aaron do something equally as revolting because, well, my honey is going to read 15 through 19.
But when Pharaoh saw that he had been given some relief, he made himself hard-hearted and would not listen to them, just as Adonai had said would happen. Adonai said to Moses, "Say to Aaron, reach out your staff and strike the dust of the ground, and it will become lice throughout all the land of Egypt." I'm going to 19.
Through 19.
They did it. Aaron reached out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the ground, and there were lice on people and animals. All the dust of the ground became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. The magicians tried with their secret arts to produce lice, but they couldn't. There were lice on people and animals. Then the magician said to Pharaoh, "This is the finger of God." But Pharaoh was hard-hearted, so that he didn't listen to them, just as Adonai had said would happen. It makes me itchy.
Think about that. All the Egyptians, lice on people and animals. And like she said, Pharaoh's magicians state this is the finger of God. Then Adonai starts to show Pharaoh and all the Egyptians something that separates them from the chosen people. Read 20 through 24, please.
Adonai said to Moses, "Get up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh when he goes out to the water, and say to him, 'Here's what Adonai says, let my people go, so that they can worship me. Likewise, if you won't let my people go, I will send swarms of insects on you, your servants and your people, and into your houses. The houses of the Egyptians will be full of swarms of insects, and likewise the ground they stand on.'" 20
through 24.
Oh, okay. "But I will set apart the land of Goshen, where my people live. No swarms of insects will be there, so that you can realize that I am Adonai right here in the land. Yes, I will distinguish between my people and your people, and this sign will happen by tomorrow." Adonai did it. Terrible swarms of insects went into Pharaoh's palace and into all his servants' houses. The insects ruined the entire land of Egypt.
Now, when you really stop and think about it, we've got the fish, the smell of the dead frogs and all that, and the swarms of insects. And the Egyptians looking around and thinking, well, that's bad enough. What about it? Have you ever thought about how bad the smell of all that dead fish would have been? The smell of all those dead frogs all over the place? The lice and now the swarms of insects on just the Egyptian? She stated, ruining the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh gets an idea. Comes up with something really smart. She's going to read 25.
Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Go and sacrifice to your God here in the land."
Sacrifice to God here. What did Moses say? No, we will go for a 3-day journey. We like how the last part of 29 states. Read the last part of 29, please.
"Just make sure that Pharaoh stops playing games with the people by preventing them from going and sacrificing to Adonai."
In other words, what was he doing? I wrote, stop playing games, Pharaoh. And again, now read 32, please.
But this time too, Pharaoh made himself stubborn and didn't let the people go.
Again, Adonai is going to bring punishment to just the Egyptian. My sweetie's going to read 9, 3, and 4.
I see 4. Where's 3? Oh. "The hand of Adonai is on your livestock in the field, on the horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, and flocks, and will make them suffer a devastating illness. But Adonai will distinguish between Egypt and Israel's livestock. Nothing belonging to the people of Israel will die."
Their horses, their people are seeing their horses, their donkeys, camels, cattle, and flocks, because they're all suffering a devastating illness. But then they go over and look at the Hebrew animals, because they're A-okay. This time, it seems Pharaoh did something different. Read chapter 9, 7 through 9.
Pharaoh investigated and found that not even one of the animals of the people of Israel had died. Nevertheless, Pharaoh's heart remained stubborn, and he didn't let the people go. 7 through 9, right?
Yes.
Adonai said to Moses and Aaron, "Take handfuls of ashes from the kiln, and let Moses throw them in the air before Pharaoh's eyes. They will turn into fine dust over all the land of Egypt, and become infested sores on men and animals throughout Egypt."
Now, the one thing that came out on that reading of her, what she just read, was something that I have never ever noticed before. Pharaoh investigates. He didn't just take his people's word for it. It says Pharaoh investigates. Then Aaron and Moses said, now I want you to throw ashes in from the kiln in the air. Do this in front of Pharaoh. There will be sores on man and animal.
It says.
As you know, he didn't care and wouldn't let the Hebrews go.
It says too.
We like how Adonai states the obvious in 9:15.
By now, I could have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with such severe plagues that you would have been wiped off the earth.
Adonai states, I could have wiped you off the earth. Read 9:16, please.
But it is for this very reason that I have kept you alive, to show you my power, and so that my name may resound throughout the whole earth.
For this reason, I have kept you alive. Why? To show you and Egypt my power. He wanted to show Pharaoh and the Egyptians Adonai's power. He didn't want to kill him right away. All right, now read 17 through 19.
Since you are still setting yourself up against my people and not letting them go, tomorrow about this time I will cause a hailstorm so heavy that Egypt has had nothing like it from the day it was founded until now. Therefore send and hurry to bring indoors all your livestock and everything else you have in the field. For hail will fall on every human being and every animal left in the field that hasn't been brought home, and they will die.
Hailstorm. Tomorrow's going to be a hailstorm. This one is hail, only this time it comes with what? It came with a warning. And told people how to protect themselves. Bring under cover any person or animal except the Hebrews. They'll be all right. Read 20, please.
Whoever among Pharaoh's servants feared what Adonai had said had his slaves and livestock escape into houses. 2021 or just 20?
Just 20.
Okay, that's what I thought.
This is an interesting writing on how brainwashed people were back then. Now read 21.
But those who had no regard for what Adonai had said left their slaves and livestock in the field.
I want you to understand what he is actually saying and what should be understood here. And I wrote, think about that one. Think about that one overlooked verse. Well, overlooked because it happened back then. But what about in our day? Society today have no regard for Adonai's son Yeshua. You would have to say the same thing. People back then ignored Adonai. Today they ignore Yeshua as well. In other words, the 99% of the earth's population are acting like Pharaoh and like the brainwashed in 9:21, having no regard for Adonai or Yeshua. I think I'm over here now. Now, I know it's not very long, but it's the interesting writing came in verse 30 of 90. Of 9. My sweetie's going to read chapter 9, 27 through 30, but pay close attention to what verse 30 says.
Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said to them, "This time I have sinned. Adonai is in the right. I and my people are in the wrong. Intercede with Adonai. We can't take any more of this terrible thunder and hail, and I will let you go. You will stay no longer." Moses said to him, "As soon as I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands to Adonai. The thunder will end, and there will be no more hail, so that you can know that the earth belongs to Adonai. But you and your servants, I know you still won't fear Adonai God."
In other words, Pharaoh, like so many preachers, priests, and rabbi teachers, will say almost anything to fill their church or to make others happy, truth or not. People are drawn to a place they like, where if they teach what you already believe, it doesn't have to be scriptural. In chapter 10, you have the locust eating everything growing. Then in 10:7, we'll read 10:7.
Pharaoh's servant said to him, "How much longer must this fellow be a snare to us? Let the people go and worship Adonai their God. Don't you understand yet that Egypt is being destroyed?" It took him a long time to say that.
Yeah, can't you just see
There's been 6 or 7 things go on.
Can't you just see his cabinet, his people that in his government saying, "Hey, Pharaoh, don't you understand yet?" We like how Pharaoh tries, you might say, barter with Moses. Read 10 verses 10 and 11, please.
Pharaoh said to them, "Adonai certainly will be with you if I ever let you go with your children. It's clear that you are up to no good." 10 11, right?
Yes.
"Nothing doing. Just the men among you may go and worship Adonai. That's what you want, isn't it?" And they were driven out of Pharaoh's presence.
That's what you want, isn't it? You guys go and worship God, but everybody else has to stay here. You can just see the look on Moses' face. So much so, they were driven away from Pharaoh. You think he had that kind of a disgusted look on his face?
It's like, really?
Did you notice what Pharaoh stated in 10:10? Read 10:10, please.
Pharaoh said to them, "Adonai certainly will be with you if I ever let you go with your children. It's clear that you are up to no good."
Pharaoh admitted, "Adonai will certainly be with your people." Actually, when I went over that 2 or 3 times, I never caught how he stated that. Adonai will certainly be with your people if we let you and your children go. Pharaoh makes a 2-word statement in the start of 10 verses 11. No, not going to happen, nothing doing. Just the men, that way Pharaoh thinks they will come back. Well, that's what you want, isn't it? Now it's time for the darkness so thick. Read 21:22, please.
Oh. Adonai said to Moses, "Reach out your hand toward the sky, and there will be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness so thick it can be felt." Moses reached out his hand toward the sky, and there was a thick darkness in the entire land of Egypt for 3 days.
Here we go again.
There'd be an uprising in Egypt.
We believe Pharaoh tries to barter again. You, your children, but no animals. Read 10:24.
Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, "Go worship Adonai. Only leave your flocks and herds behind. Your children may go with you."
So he's bartered to the point where the men and the children and the wives can all go. But if you go, you can't take any animals for a sacrifice. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now my sweetie's going to read 28 and 29.
Pharaoh said to them, "Get away from me. You had better not see my face again, because the day you see my face again, you will die." Moses answered, "Well spoken. I will see your face no more."
I like how he states that in the complete Jewish Bible. Well spoken. In other words, I wrote down, okay, unlike the movies, Pharaoh never stated the firstborn will die. Now, if I'm not wrong on this, that's one thing that preachers and the movies and everybody points out. Pharaoh states about the firstborn, but he never does that. But guess what? Not last week, maybe even the week before, we talked about how God said that. How Adonai made that comment.
Yeah, before they even left to go back to Egypt.
I'm going to start over. Pharaoh never stated the firstborn will die. But if Moses sees his face again, he states, Moses will die. And the weird thing is, he doesn't keep that promise either.
No.
I believe he still calls him back to and says, "Get out."
There'd be a major uprising.
That was kind of a talk about things that I've never seen in the scriptures before, never heard preached. And if I have, I must have been sleeping. So,
Cute, dear.
we're going to keep going with this and see where it leads us for the next Tuesday. We didn't even make 30 minutes tonight.
It's all right.
But you know, I think because Adonai brought out a number of things to me that I've never ever seen before. And if he brings out stuff for you that you've never seen before, we shouldn't heap a whole bunch of stuff on it. We should understand it, go over it, and study it ourselves. Don't take my word for it.
Not us.
I'm not that smart. You study. You find, if you took notes, you should be able to point out to each one of the things that where I said, I've never heard it before. And if you've already heard it before, then you're better a person than I am. But we will see you next Tuesday. Brother George is back in our sanctuary here.
Amen.
He's back with the living.
That's good. Oh, that's very good.
And we will
So,
see you next Tuesday.
Please like and share it, guys. And please check out our YouTube channel. Go to George Nelson Live Facebook. And you can see this one and all the rest of them that we've done. So, please check them out. Have an awesome week, guys. We
God
will
bless.
see you next week.
Bye.
Oh, done.
Oh, thank God. I was hoping I wouldn't go into my sneezing tirades.
You were just fine.
Oh, my nose. You know when you're going to start sneezing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do, I sneeze about 15 or 20 times. I thought, oh, Lord. I kept praying I wouldn't sneeze.
Like, don't do that.
They could-
Whoops, sorry about that.
Oh, I could steal
Okay.
through it. It's in there.
It's in there.
See, that's why we got to Adonai made it so short tonight. He knew George would be sneezing if he didn't put my sneezing.
I've been wanting this button when I start sneezing. I'll sneeze when you're I used to sneeze only in the morning. I have no idea. Mornings, nights, midnights.
Ugh.
I never knew that before. I called 3 times every night and talked about it. Even when you did it, I had to go back and under that and start. Is that what that is? You didn't even